Hello everybody and welcome to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. I am Captain Fizz.
And of course, as always, I am El Hombre Loco Enmascarado, better known simply as That Mask Guy.
And it is a Thursday. We are live for the first time ever on Thursday.
That's just simply because we were too lazy to actually go off and tape an episode on Tuesday.
Yes, lazy or diabolical.
I think we're just both really exhausted. I've had a cold. You were pretty tired, and we had gotten started late with our special guest, Andy.
Yeah, no, I go with diabolical.
Okay, you keep telling yourself that. So, starting off tonight, I think we really need to touch on this particular subject. Disney has pretty much pulled the plug on the quote-unquote Marvel Movie Committee, which was held... I can't even talk, which is no surprise to any of you, I'm sure. But the committee... this was the committee that was led up by Isaac Perlmutter, who is the Marvel Entertainment CEO.
Perlmutter.
That's actually a pretty fun name to say, isn't it?
I would love to have that name. I am Mr. Perlmutter.
And anyways, what has happened is that Kevin Feige, who is the Marvel Studio president, is no longer answerable to Marvel Entertainment CEO Isaac Perlmutter. And is now answerable directly to Disney.
See, if you slow Perlmutter really slow, it's pair of mother.
Okay.
I think that was a very unique point to point out. Pair of mother.
But anyways, then there was some question as to why did this happen, and what is just...
Mickey Mouse didn't like Marvel having its own chain of command.
Well, here's the thing. There's been rumors circulating all week long. One of the reasons why was that a lot of the directors and writers for the movies just felt really frustrated with this committee led up by Isaac, the CEO.
Perlmutter.
And but what has just come out and just recently been brought out is that Disney actually considers the Avengers 2 Age of Ultron to be a failure, which is amazing. Here's a movie that made $1.4 billion in studios, and yet it's still considered to be a failure by Disney because it didn't make as much money as the original movie.
You want to know what a real failure is? That I have yet to see the second Avengers movie.
That might be exactly a reason why this movie is considered a failure, because you haven't seen it.
Exactly. The whole reason that Avengers 2 failed was because I, Captain Fizz, have not seen it. All movie benefits rely on me.
But anyways, there just seems to be a lot of stuff. As I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, a lot of writers and directors were really frustrated. It seemed like this committee was really holding things up, and the original director for Ant-Man actually left the project out of the frustration with Isaac Perlmutter and his committee.
See, I don't exactly believe that Perlmutter is at fault here. I think, honestly, it's a bunch of people with their knickers, in a twist, and Perlmutter is getting the bad rap, and I'm just enjoying saying Perlmutter.
Here's the thing. This apparently is only going to be with the movies. As far as I know, he will continue leading up for the television series, so that would include Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, Daredevil, and all the other series that will be soon coming out.
So you're telling me that Perlmutter is still in control of TV?
Apparently Perlmutter is still in charge of TV. And you know what? Here's the thing. We're going to say this guy's name as often as possible. And we're probably going to even bring him up on some of the other things that we'll discuss later on, just because the name is so great.
This is now the Perlmutter Show.
This is the Perlmutter Show. We are officially changing our name. This is the Captain Fizz, Mask Guy, and Perlmutter Show.
I love Paramutters.
I'm probably not even pronouncing the name right, but oh well, Paramutter.
Paramutter sounds better. Okay, we just entertained ourselves for a good couple days on that one. So, okay, so Paramutter is still in control of TV, but Paramutter is not in control of movies.
Apparently, Paramutter is in charge of TV, but not in charge of movies. Yes. This is just not going to get old, is it? This is awesome.
No. I honestly, I really feel bad for the man growing up with the name of Paramutter. It's like, what do you do for a living? Well, my name is Paramutter, so I'm a mutter. And I have a pair.
Okay. So, but what do you think about this? I mean, do you think this is going to be a good move?
Well, I do think, honestly, it's a good idea to have a separation between the movies and TV. Having one guy in control of all the TV stuff and all the movies stuff isn't really the greatest idea.
But this wasn't just one guy. We're talking about a committee here.
Yeah, but Paramutter's the head of the committee, so therefore Paramutter's the main guy. And Paramutter's not going to get old around here.
Yeah, and maybe they're going to take more of a page from what DC has done, where the TV series are completely separate from the movies. And that's why they can have a different actor play the Flash in Batman vs Superman than they do on the TV series.
See, I'm neither for nor against that. I'm going to reserve the right to withhold my my opinion. Yes, my opinion.
Your opinion
on this one, because it's complicated. Sometimes we want to see different actors. Sometimes we want to see different actresses. But I would like to see a little bit more familiarity between TV shows and movies. But I do think one guy or committee, however you want to say it, running both is a little complicated. For obvious reasons, he's going to pay more attention to one and ignore the other. Now, do I want Disney to be in charge of anything? Not really.
I don't know. Honestly, can they do any worse than Sony?
Sony does not belong in this conversation. Sony will never belong in this conversation. I'd rather go back to Paramutter.
Well, going from Paramutter to a name that is a lot more respectable sounding.
Sony is not respectable.
No, man.
When you think respect, you think Disney, Marvel, George Lucas. When you think of debacle, you think of Sony.
Sony, yes. But, no, I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the icon. I am talking, of course, about Stan freaking Lee.
See, we have grown up idolizing Stan Lee. But in recent years, Stan Lee's been, if anything, questionable, argumentative, frustrating.
It's just absolutely glorious.
And senile.
No.
I don't know if you read this article the other day. He turned around and said the reason why the Fantastic Four failed is because he did not make a cameo.
And I think that might actually be that actually might be a good reason, because if Stan Lee had been on set to do a cameo, you can bet your bomb dollar that he would have went off and been giving them some advice on how to make the movie good.
See, the thing though is, but him coming out and saying just that the reason...
And that was a joke, by the way. He joked about that.
Yeah, but still, it's making himself seem like he believes he has this god icon. Now, he's phenomenal. He's a genius, and however you want to describe him. But he is no god. He's a writer. He's a creator. He is a master of, fantasy.
And here's the thing, though. I argue with you to find a Marvel movie, whether it was put on by Marvel Studios with Walt Disney, or through Universal Studios, or through Sony, that Stan Lee made a cameo in. that flunked as bad as Fantastic Four did that did not have Stan Lee in it.
But see, the thing though is, you can argue with me all you want. Does Stan Lee direct?
He doesn't direct.
Does he produce?
He is one of the executive producers in many movies.
That doesn't matter. Executive, that's like the name that will not come on my tongue anymore.
It's pretty much you put your name on the movie without having actually anything to do with it.
Well, exactly. He doesn't produce. He doesn't direct. He doesn't act. He's basically, a cameo. I do not think he plays a huge part in these movies. These movies, whether he was in it or not, were either going to flop or do good. He is not the deciding factor on how it goes.
But here's the thing, though. This brings up a more bigger issue as far as Fantastic Four. Because do you think that the part of the reason why Stan Lee was not invited to have a cameo in that movie, was not invited to have his input in that movie, was because the makers of that movie did not respect Stan Lee?
See, I don't think that's what it is. I think the reason why Stan Lee did not have a cameo in Fantastic Four is for the direct reason that they wanted to distance themselves from everything Marvel.
And that's just it. And that in itself is, I think, very disrespectful, because you're not only disrespecting Stan Lee, more importantly, you're disrespecting the fans and the source material. And that's what was really important here.
But you got to keep in mind, they pretty much did come out and admit that they just made this movie to retain the rights. It had nothing to do with respecting the story, respecting the characters or anything like that. It was merely for the point of making the movie so Marvel did not get it. So yeah, they're not going to ask Stan Lee to make a cameo for that exact reason.
I don't know. It's kind of trash.
And the fact that we're talking about this movie again.
But here's the thing. That was only one little tidbit. Was an interview that, of course, that he went off and did a few days ago with Larry King. This was one thing that was brought up. There was a couple of other things that we brought up. He apparently has already filmed his cameo for X-Men Apocalypse. He is referring to it as his favorite cameo. And the reason for that is that he apparently did a cameo with someone very special to him. And there's a lot of speculation that they mean his wife or perhaps a member of the Kirby family.
See, you were talking about name a movie that that flops with him as a cameo. If any movie is going to flop with him even as a cameo, it's going to be X-Men.
I don't know. I really, you know how I feel about Apocalypse and how he looks in this. He honestly looks like a villain from the original Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Series, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. And I want to go off. I want to give this movie some, a chance, because I saw a teaser trailer for this, and we're finally going to see the young Professor Xavier bald. And for whatever reason, that to me, really excites me for whatever reason.
It's a turning point. It's like the origin story to probably one of our greatest heroes growing up. The fact of you get to see how he became who he was. But I do believe that if any movie is going to flop, it is X-Men. And specifically for the design of Apocalypse.
And I think, there's a lot of people are going off